So, I got Soothe the other day. It was on sale. Kind of wanted it for ages. Thought, why not? So what is it? Well, if you look at the display, it kind of looks like an EQ. It's not. It's kind of a lot more complicated than that. It actually detects resonances and brings them down. Kind of, if you can imagine it as having lots and lots of intelligent multiband compressors, and basically they're doing some detecting on nasty frequencies and getting rid of them for you. Okay. It looks like an EQ here, as you can see. So what this actually does is it's how much you're actually going to process that band. So if you have everything on 0, it will still process stuff. So for example, you can see that it's actually still processing some stuff here. But if I turn this down there, it's doing a lot less. Turn it up, it's doing it a lot more. Now, it's got a couple of ways of showing, of you being able to see what it's actually doing. So, if you press delta, that shows you what it's removing. And on the balance here, you've got mid-side, or it can be left-right. So on the balance, you've got mid-side. So if I do 0, that's now only affecting the mid. If I do 1, it's affecting only the side. If I do 0.5, it's everything. There we go. So, take the delta off. If you turn the depth off, it does a lot more processing, as you can see. Sharpness is kind of how many bands you want. Each one of them will have a very high Q if you turn it up and it's more bands. So one way to show that is to just turn up the sharpness. And there you go. You can see there's absolutely tons of bands. And there's just a couple. Now, listening to the difference between those is interesting. So that's the delta, that's the difference. Now you can hear it's really catching a lot of resonances there. So that's it, that's over processed really. So if I turn it off now, you can hear it's took some of the nastiness out. You could also use it to clean up the low mids. There you go. So obviously you probably wouldn't want a depth as high as that unless you had something really nasty. You can use a tap to actually keep the transients, so the transients don't get processed. That's really obvious if you do it in a delta. So there you can hear every transient. Turn it up. There you go, so there's no transients now. So it's only affecting stuff after the transients hit. And on quality, you've got how much you want to oversample, which will affect aliasing and things like that. And you've got how high you want the resolution to be. Now you can obviously set this to actually have an offline of 4 and ultra, and say you just wanted 1 and eco because your computer was slow. But you can actually tell the difference quite a lot between eco and ultra there, in my opinion. Okay. So what I thought, there's the other option is hard. Obviously hard is severe processing, as you can hear there. You can hardly hear any of the original material at all. And that's way above what any human would want to do unless you were doing it creatively. Which you might be doing, to be honest. Just like any other compressor, you've got a release on these things. So that's quite an interesting sound if you want to go for that. But the suggestion is you should really be able to do things in soft as much as possible. Okay, so what I did is I put a distortion here. That's got a pretty nasty resonance around about 3.8k. So we've got that. Let's turn Soothe off. Let's see what it sounds like without it. Okay, now let's put it in. There you go. While it might sound a bit weird, because of the other settings, I haven't really set this up for this. I've been playing around. You can hear it actually takes the majority of that squeak out. So yeah, anyway, that's Soothe. It's really good for doing subtle things. I've not shown subtle things here because I want to show you how kind of crazy you can get it. But there's many videos out there that will show you that. There's obviously a sidechain as well, so you can sidechain a kick drum in and go, okay, just take the bass out of a bass when the kick drum hits or something like that. But yeah, that's Soothe 2, and there you go.